Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Rider Ramblings. You've probably noticed this is not about a TPS. The fates are conspiring against me at the moment, and I'll explain that in a minute. I actually made a video yesterday, and it was so bad that I'm remaking it today. So I'm on the blue bike today. I was on the black bike yesterday. As I say, the fates have been conspiring against me. Right. So what an idiot. I do apologise. I don't know if you noticed, but we had a complete idiot behind. He won't get there any quicker on these roads. Anyhow, the fates have been conspiring against me. And so last Friday morning I started moving boxes in the garage to give myself some more room, and also I was actually looking for an item that was in storage, and I managed to pull a muscle in my left arm quite badly actually. This comes from when you're in a funny position and trying to pick up a heavy box full of books or something, and I didn't realise I'd done it until about sort of half an hour or 45 minutes afterwards. Never mind. So I thought, well, I won't do the TPS at the weekend. I'll leave it a couple of days for the muscle to sort itself out, and then I'll do it on Monday. So, as it wasn't a good idea to ride bikes either, I didn't go out riding bikes. Instead, I did some leather work. I don't know if I've told you, one of my hobbies is working with small leather goods. I make things like wallets and bags and belts and so on for friends and family, mainly as gifts. If I remember, I'll put a montage at the end of some of the items that I've made that I've got photographs of, that type of thing. Anyhow, I was making this replacement leather wallet for me. It's actually a small card wallet that also can hold coins. That'll go in my trouser pocket. It sort of holds things like the Metro Pass and things like this. I managed to damage the cushion, I don't know what else to call it, on my right hand. This is between the thumb and the wrist. While I was sewing, because I do everything by hand, there's no machines involved. Well, I'm lying slightly, because there is a machine involved. It's a thing for melting the lead. Not the lead, what am I talking about? Melting the thread, so it doesn't come apart. It's just a little pen-like thing with a heating element on it. That's the only machine I use. Everything else is hand tools. Absolutely hand tools. And so consequently, I sew by hand. I don't use a machine. And I've managed to damage... somebody's dropped gravel everywhere. That's clever of them. My right hand... to the extent that I couldn't span her at all. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even open a bottle of wine. I had to come up with a fancy method of opening my bottle of wine, because my I couldn't grip properly. Never mind. So anyhow, that's the problem. So I haven't spanned this week at all. In fact, yesterday was the first day out on a bike, even though it was. I'm not going to say it's good weather. It's going to be like this, where it's bright and sunny, but really very cold. I have no idea what's going on here. I think the temperature, it's saying it's 10 degrees, but I think that's a bit optimistic. I know my phone was saying it was 7 degrees as I left, so I don't know. And that's the warmest it's been for a very long time, actually. We've been sort of having 5s and 6s around here, even with the sun. So, yeah. So yes, even with the nicer weather, I've not been out on the bike. So anyhow, today's subject is Priorité à droite. Again, this is a comment that I was left about how do I know if something is Priorité à droite or not. Well, the rule in France is everything is Priorité à droite unless otherwise indicated. That is the rule in France. There are one or two exceptions. One of the exceptions are autoroutes. Autoroutes are never Priorité à droite on that. But apart from that, it's Priorité à droite unless otherwise indicated. So basically, you have to treat everything as if it's Priorité à droite. Now, of course, traffic lights, while they're functioning, are not Priorité à droite, or not normally a Priorité à droite. But if they don't function, if they flash amber, or they don't work at all, then it's immediately Priorité à droite. So that's the system for things like traffic lights. Now, roundabouts are Priorité à droite, but they're slowly changing this, and they put up the triangle sign, which basically means give way. It says cédez le passage, and that tells you that that particular roundabout is not Priorité à droite. But you have to treat roundabouts as if they're Priorité à droite. They do have clear ways where they have a sign which tells you that Priorité à droite is not applicable on that piece of road. I'll put a sign, the sign up for you to see. And then, of course, at the end of that, they have a sign telling you that it's finished. Yeah! On that. So, the rule is Priorité à droite everywhere. That's the rule. It's Priorité à droite everywhere, unless otherwise indicated. It's one of the reasons why it's Priorité à droite on the Périphérique, around virtually all the towns and cities. Because quite simply, unless otherwise indicated, it's Priorité à droite. So the Périphérique is Priorité à droite, which everybody finds strange. So if you're driving around the Périphérique in France, any of them, don't use the right-hand lane unless you're actually leaving the Périphérique. Instead, use the middle lane, or if there's only 2 lanes, the outer lane. Don't worry about blocking people, they'll soon tell you about it on that. So this is one of the reasons. So that's the rule, basically everything is priority à droite unless otherwise indicated. Now, because priority à droite does cause a lot of problems, they do actually indicate the more difficult priority à droite junctions, and I'm just trying to find one for you. I'm going into Soucy-en-Brie, which is this town in front, to see if I can find one for you. I'm not going to go very far today. I'll go to Ormesson, because I think, if I remember rightly, there's a couple up there. So I'll find the signs for you. These are just reminders to remind people that priority à droite is actually in force. They're basically a big cross on a triangular sign. So that's the rule. Priority à droite everywhere. Now, as I say, there are one or two exceptions. Autoroutes are the exception. And gyratory systems are an exception as well. Gyratory systems, so these are basically the very large roundabouts, you know, that not the smaller roundabouts, but basically the very large roundabouts. I go round one, you probably see it at the beginning of the video. I'll put a note at the bottom to say this is a gyratory system as I join it. Okay, so that's that. Anyhow, been looking at the weather forecast, and in theory it's supposed to be cold for another week or so, getting much colder. Right, here we go. Here we go. I don't know if you can see that sign there, the triangular sign with the X in it. That's to remind you that this is priority à droite. They don't have to do that, but they tend to do it at there's another one here. They tend to do it at the junctions where there are more accidents than normal. Now, and another one here. As to whether priority à droite is a good idea, it's in a lot of places, a lot of countries in Europe. I believe it's Austria, Germany as well. I'm not sure about Belgium, but certainly I know that some of the Germanic countries use priority à droite as well. And the reason for it is to try and slow people down, so that you don't drive too fast. But what it actually does is just cause more accidents. 52%, when I last looked at the statistics, 52% of all traffic accidents in France happened at a priority à droite junction. Yeah, you heard that correctly, 52%. That's an enormous number. Now, having said that, if they removed priority à droite, you wouldn't get an immediate halving of the accident rate, because it's still a junction, and junctions tend to be relatively dangerous, and accidents will happen at them. But for some reason, they don't seem to want to do it. There would be a reduction in accidents, how much I don't know, but they are slowly changing most of the roundabouts, but not all of them, most of the roundabouts into giveways. Rather than priority à droite, but it's a slow thing, especially as there are a lot of roundabouts in France, more than there are, I think, France has the most roundabouts of any country in the world. Yeah. So that's the system. So Priorité à droite is, how can I put it, not the best system out there. The reason for it, this is a priority. Is this? No, it isn't. It's a stop. They don't have the X, and I can see the stop sign. It's strange, as I say, some of them are Priorité à droite, some aren't. But the whole reason for it, the whole ethos behind Priorité à droite is to slow the traffic down. And of course, when you've got, it might work in the Germanic countries, but in the Latin countries, basically they don't give a monkeys, and will actually go flying through the junction, and large accidents happen. You'd be amazed, actually, at just how many accident, or the residue of accidents you see at Priorité à droite junctions. People just seem to forget that they're Priorité à droite or whatever. Now, as I say, dual carriageways are usually Priorité à droite unless marked otherwise, and so on. Okay, I've waffled on long enough. We've got scooterists coming up behind. So I've waffled on long enough. So if I remember, I'll put a montage of things that I make, photographs of things that I make up now. Please like, comment, share and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.